Good morning, my name is Gerwin Smit. I'm from the Delft University of Technology and I will present my idea. And this is the Delft cylinder hand, an ultralight hand for the amputee. Well, first I want to introduce you to Erika van Zuidam. She is an occupational therapist, an ergotherapeut, and she trains people people who lost their hand to how to operate a prosthetic hand. And she's very experienced in that because she lost both her feet and both her hands due to meningitis. And she works in one of the leading rehabilitation centers in the United States. Well, and therefore you would expect that she wears herself the top quality prosthetic devices, the most functional ones. And yes, she does. She wears 2 split hooks. And these are currently the most functional devices there are. The split hooks were invented in 1912, and at that time they looked still the same like they look now. And I think it's amazing that nothing has changed since 100 years. And I would ask you, if you would become an amputee, do you want to wear this? Or do you think that this is acceptable if one of your children would become an amputee? Well, I think, personally, I think it's not acceptable. I would like to change this. Aren't there any alternatives? Yes, there are. There are prosthetic hands. However, they are not so functional as the hook devices. They require too much effort. They are inaccurate. They are unreliable. They unexpectedly open, in other words, it's not so handy when you hold your cup of coffee. And they are too heavy, and therefore 30% of the people doesn't want to wear a prosthetic device, or they want to, but they can't because it's too heavy. And many people still use a prosthetic hook instead of a hand. Well, this is the mass of prosthetic devices. This is the device, a hand which was developed in 1945. At that time, it is 350 grams. At that time, it was already mentioned that it should be lighter. Well, as we can see, devices have become heavier and heavier. Up till last year, new devices 600 grams, excluding the red area, which is the battery. I think we have to do things differently. And I ask myself, can we make a hand that requires a low user effort, that is accurate, and that is highly reliable, but most of all is lightweight, so that they can use it and that they can wear it all day. Well, how can we do this? Well, we have to do two things. We don't want to use motors and batteries because they are heavy. The other thing is that we want to have a low user effort. We want to get rid of friction, get rid of cables and linkages with friction. And therefore we decided to switch to hydraulics. But we need very tiny hydraulics, micro-hydraulics. This is micro-hydraulics, state-of-the-art micro-hydraulics that you can get in a hydraulics shop, but it's too big. Therefore we decided to make our own micro-hydraulics, and this is the result. Tiny cylinders that fit inside a human finger. And here you can see how it works. The hand adapts to the shape of the object. You can do pinch grips, you can do cylinder grips. And you can very accurately control the grasp force. You can hold an object without squeezing it, but if you want to, you can squeeze it. And you can so accurately adjust the force that you can even operate a pair of tweezers, which is absolutely unique for a prosthetic device. But you can also lift heavier objects, right, or turn pages. Well, we also we used it with patients, and we asked them to use it. And this guy lost his hand in an accident. He normally uses body-powered hands, which requires a lot of force and which is heavy. And now he is operating. This is after 2 minutes of practicing. And he, for the first time, he can use his hand to operate a pair of tweezers. And he remarks that one of the most striking features was that the hand is very light. Well, is it light? Yes, it is. It's only 152 grams, which makes it the lightest prosthetic hand, which is the lightest prosthetic hand ever. So we tested this in the university with patients. So we now have the proof that it works, but we need to prove that but we are not there yet, because we have to do clinical trials. We have to people have to test it at home, and we need at least 15 prototypes, 15 patients to test it, to prove that it works, and that it's safe, and to write it down on paper.
Thank you.
But that is my dream, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
Very nice.